Let's now look at the first design pattern that we will discuss, the factory method pattern. And I'm going to start by discussing the intent of the pattern and its applicability. As far as the intent is concerned, the factory method pattern allows for creating objects without specifying their class by invoking what we call a factory method. And what that is a method whose main goal is to create class instances. So when is this pattern useful? So when is it applicable? For example, it is applicable in cases in which a class cannot anticipate the type of object it must create. That is, the type of an object is not known at compile time. It's not known until the code runs. A typical example of this are frameworks. So if you ever used a framework, you will know that normally frameworks only know about interfaces and abstract classes. So the exact type of the objects of these classes is only known at runtime. A second case in which the factory method pattern is applicable is when a class wants its subclasses to specify the type of object it creates. And we'll see an example of this in a minute. Finally, factory method patterns are applicable when a class needs control over the creation of its objects. And in this case, one possible example is when there is a limit on the number of objects that can be created. Special example, it's a singleton. If you're familiar with a singleton is a class for which only one instance can be created. The factory method pattern is perfect in these cases because it allows to control how many objects get created. So in this case, it would allow the creation only of a single object. And from the second time that it is invoked, it will just return the object that was previously created. But let's go ahead and see how this pattern actually works. And let's do that by discussing the structure and the participants for the pattern. The structure that is represented here using the UML notation includes three classes: the creator, the concrete creator, and the product. The creator provides the interface for the factory method. So this here is the interface for the factory method that, when invoked, returns an object of type product. The concrete creator provides the actual method for creating the product. So this method is a concrete implementation of this interface. Finally, the product is the object created by the factory method. So summarizing, we have the interface for the factory method, the actual implementation of the summary method, and the object that is created by the factory method when it is invoked. So let's look at an example of this pattern.